Hey guys, this is Wire Guitars. I thought I'd do a little playthrough of Enter the Gungeon from start to finish. Finish being, of course, a relative term there. This is a roguelike, so it's definitely up in the air as to whether or not you can truly ever finish a game like this. But there's definitely quite a lot of unlocks to unlock, and that's what I guess I hope to accomplish in this playthrough, is to go from the very beginning of the game when your breach is completely and totally barren, barring, of course, the characters that you start off with the game. And fully build it up, as well as unlocking all the guns on the side to the point where we have mostly, if not everything. And so I guess without further ado, let's just get started. Quick little disclaimer, I do have another save file, but I made a new one just for this. I guess I don't have one of my favorite options already, increase movement speed, out of combat. We're going to go ahead and kind of get those. If you're first starting off the game, I highly recommend that you do enable these two options. I don't want to get too technical about this because you haven't even played the game yet. But these just drastically are improve quality of life. Increased movement speed out of combat just makes you move a lot quicker when you're out of combat, of course, and that just kind of cuts down on a lot of busy work. It also kind of trivializes some trap-based puzzles in the game. I don't want to say puzzles, but some trap-based rooms in the game. But I'd say it's worth it, in my opinion, for the sake of just, I don't know, cutting down on busy work. And the other option, I think it's, hide empty guns in combat. Just makes it so that when you're switching guns on the fly, you can do it with more ease, as to not switch over guns that you have absolutely no ammo for, because of course when you're in combat, you probably don't have a means of gaining ammo for those guns. So you start off in the breach. You have 4 characters unlocked. I say unlocked, but of course you start with them, so are they truly even unlocked? You have, of course, the Marine, the Pilot, the character that I'm selected as the Convict, and the Hunter. Not a whole lot of people really give like a tier list for these characters. Indeed, I'd say it's kind of maybe somewhat pointless to even ascribe one to a roguelike such as this, where it's not even really uber competitive. But when you're first starting out, I actually personally recommend you play the Marine. And there's a couple of reasons that I recommend that, and we'll get into that as we get this run going. So what you do is you come up here, and this is like the main entry area, but oh, I can't enter the Gungeon. What's going on? They tell you to complete the tutorial out. They tell you to complete the tutorial before you do that. I can sit here and say I will seek him out, or I could be like, he's for chumps, whatever, and then they just let me in. I am actually going to go do the tutorial because there is a little important thing, not a little actually. They've buffed the tutorial since the AGDG Advanced Gungeons and Dragons update. Such that I feel it's actually pretty relevant that we go and do it. So this is the guy, his name's Sir Manuel. He's going to run us through the tutorial. He's going to teach us all the mechanics of the game. Don't worry too much about this because, of course, I will be going over this as we play. But basically, he's just telling us that we can dodge roll. You can also dodge roll into barrels. He doesn't tell you that, but you can break them like that. He's like, there's nothing in any of those, but, you know, it won't stop a bullet. They're explosive because they got the TNT. You can roll over tables, etc., so forth. He wants us to talk to him. We can flip them over. If you go over and you hit E by default, I changed my buttons to be button 5, and you can flip over multiple tables. So we're scrolling through. And then he's going to teach us about... He's going to actually teach us about dodge rolling. Back there I thought he was, but he was not. He was telling us that flipping tables is important. This is the real tutorial here. Don't worry, pretty much don't ever worry about flipping tables. It's a pretty irrelevant mechanic in the game, if I say so myself. You can also, in addition to dodging bullets, roll over these crevices. I think you saw me doing that at the start there when we were in the breach, but yeah. If I fall down, you say I lose a health, so it's definitely something you want to avoid doing if at all possible. But sometimes it can be pretty tricky, and especially in cases like this, you saw down here, it's kind of like a smaller gap. Sometimes the gaps get a lot bigger, and you need a lot more precise timing. It's going to introduce us to one of the resources that you're allowed in the game, the blanks. You get 2 every floor, and you can of course pick more up as room drops, or you can get them. You can purchase them at the shop. Some items even give you blanks passively. Kind of skipping through this. I do apologize if you're super uber new to the game. Like I said, I do plan on kind of divulging a lot of the information that this covers in game and more specifically in practice. Although I guess you could argue that this is a nice little practice area that I should be talking about. So it gives us a pea shooter, our very first gun, to shoot this little guy. He's like, oh, got the little standoff, gotta kill him. And then we go on. This is kind of the general gameplay formula of the game. As you go into rooms, got your gun, you clear out the enemies, you dodge bullets, then you go to the next room. Then you try to dodge hazards or get rid of them. I'll show you what exploding one of those looks like, because you're no doubt curious as you've seen me roll over every single one of them. You're probably like, hey man, what's it look like when it blows up? Some enemies drop casings. That's this game's version of currency. There is a shop in the game, but not in the tutorial, so you won't be able to see me spend it yet. Quite yet. I do plan on doing a run after this. It gave us an active item. Active items are by default activated by the spacebar button, just like an Isaac. There are teleporters in this game, unlike an Isaac, where obviously you can just teleport to them. It cuts down on a lot of busy work, so it's super cool that this game has them. Remember, you can warp to any teleporter on the map, but not just the ones, not just ones in the same room. But they won't work if you're in combat, of course. If you press button 5 while standing on that teleport, you can use it to teleport back to where you were. And this is a mechanic that I don't see a lot of people utilize. But yeah, you can just straight up go from the teleporter that you teleported to back to the exact location that you teleported to, which is pretty handy. I'm stupid. Doesn't matter. It's very unlikely that I do. I say this now, but I might actually end up dying in the tutorial. But yeah, it's very unlikely that I die in the tutorial. This place is pretty easy. I don't want to demean anybody that's actually lost in the tutorial, but anyways. So we're chilling here, we're going through it. We could have gone forward. You'll notice that this game is very much non-linear in the sense that, like, sure, you have a certain destination at the end of every floor that you have to go to, but by the means by which you go to said destination can be different in many different ways. Use left control to switch between guns. If you have 2 or more guns, hold left control to slow down time and pick the one up that you want. This is the preferred method, at least in my opinion, to doing in-combat switches, is just to hold the button and cycle through the guns to the gun that you want. It does slow down combat significantly, but it doesn't fully halt it. So you do have to be a little bit wary. This is not like a cheating mode. Like, time will still slowly progress when you're switching guns, but at least it significantly diminishes, or not diminishes, significantly slows it down. Chilling in this room. Got another blank. I wonder why that blank spawned. Oh wait, could it be because of this little crack here in the wall? So I'm going to teach you guys about secret rooms here, kind of early on, I suppose, into the game. They'll never spawn like this, but every single floor has a I think it's a pretty good chance, but it's not guaranteed, to spawn a secret room somewhere in the floor. The means by which you access that secret room is just by simply using a blank. The hard part about identifying secret rooms is that they will not actually they'll never have the crack as obviously displayed as this one in particular did. And you'll see we had some synergies there. I can explain that in a second. And what I mean by this is that you kind of have to test out with a gun that is not your starter infinite gun. And you'll notice both of our guns here are not infinite. But you do start off with a sidearm in every run, except for the tutorial, I guess, that has unlimited ammo. Any gun with unlimited ammo will not reveal the cracks. And you'll see I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself. You'll see what I'm talking about in a bit, but just keep that in mind, that for now secret rooms will not always be that obvious where it's just like an obvious crack sitting in every single room. You kind of have to reveal them first. Anyways, so we got to fight Manny here. I'd say he's a pretty easy boss, but you know, no disrespect to anybody that's lost to him ever. And he drops a crap ton of credits. Credits are this game's, I guess you could say, they are one of this game's progression systems, if you will. You earn credits and you spend them in the breach to afford items and guns. Guns usually, but also items. Sorry, I just want to check something real quick. Okay, good. Nice. So anyways, what he told us at the end there, we collected the secrets. This tutorial, like many things in Gungeon, this tutorial is a lot more complex than just simply teaching you the mechanics of the game. If you unlock this area right here, as we did, and you go and pick up these items, these passive items that gave us some armor, you will, I guess, unlock a little bit of a cutscene there that we had with Manny at the end. He was telling us about his, not brother, but his friend that came down to the Gungeon with him that unfortunately betrayed him, and was the result of why Manny is a ghost right now. I guess you could say he killed him in sorts. I don't even think of sorts. I think he just outright killed him. There's also a homie here who's going to sit here and tell us about the past and the future, all that good stuff. But anyways, so Manny, as in the guy that just Sir Manuel, he's like, you know, play on words of tutorial, just basically told us to go look out for his brother slash buddy slash whatever relationship they have amongst each other, ex-friend, Blockner, which we will see shortly. And without any further ado, we'll just head right into the Gungeon. As I said, I recommend playing the Marine. I think I said I was going to explain some of the reasons why I recommend starting off with the Marine. The Marine is just a very stable, if I'm using that word, I guess correctly. He's got a lot going for him. For starters, especially for new players, he is by far, in a way, the most accurate of all of the Gungeoneers. He's the only one who has an item that quite literally just gives him accuracy. In the form of, I think it's combat tactics. I can't drop the item, but I think that's called combat tactics. It just makes the Marine's life a lot easier when you're taking into consideration that when you're new to the game, you're going to have, well, you'll likely have a hard time focusing on dodging as well as dealing damage at the same time. And I guess I can actually talk about that too, because I kind of want to give you some tips as to how to deal with that. So obviously, knowing enemy patterns plays a big part to pretty much every single game that you play ever. And that just comes with grinding the game. We'll talk about everything that, like, all that shrine that we just passed by in a bit. For now, you'll notice I'm just kind of moving, constantly staying in a state of motion. That's a big way of avoiding damage, especially early on in the game. So these are just the basic and generic enemies at the game that fire out of their pistol. And you'll notice that as long as I'm just continuously moving, they'll never actually shoot at me. So we see a heart drop there, but we're full on health, so we'll go ahead and pick it up. But of course, we didn't actually consume it. We sent it to the shop. Slash the end of the room. There's a chest right there. You'll notice every single Gungeoneer spawns in with one key by default. We're not going to use it on that chest yet, though. So we want to see our options. We want to see how this floor plans out. That's the boss room. Marked by a very obvious and big, and I guess for all intents and purposes, daunting thing. This guy's called a gun knight, or I think it's actually called a gun nut. As you saw, he has a very wide attack, but it's very thin, so you can just easily dodge roll right over it, as I did. In this room, if you want to get creative, you can roll the explosive barrel, and that's what it looks like when it blows up. I told you I'd show that earlier. Sorry if I'm kind of going at a bit of a quick pace for those of you that are truly new to Gungeon. I realize this might be a lot to take in. But if you break it down simply, it's just bobbing and weaving. We've seen like 3 or 4 different enemy types now, but as long as I'm moving, none of them can hit me. This is the bird. Gonna fire out a little cluster of bullets that kind of follow you a little bit, but as long as I'm moving, it'll never hit me. And that's just kind of the theme for the majority of the game, but definitely the first 3 floors. Is just constantly stay moving in one direction and weave in and out as bullets start to come into that direction that you're weaving. So we're chilling. Chilling and running, man. I did say that I plan on kind of divulging or exposing, or I don't know, just showing you guys the secrets that this game has to offer. But I won't be going to for those of you that are watching this and for whatever reason have a pretty good grasp on how to play the game and have seen most of the game's content, I will not be going to the quote-unquote secret floor yet. I say quote-unquote, I mean, I shouldn't say quote-unquote, it is just actually a secret, this is a straight-up secret floor, but I won't be going to it just yet. Not in this run, we'll be doing that some other run. So we've explored most of this floor. I guess we should go check out the shop. We should talk about this shrine too. So what this shrine does, yeah, so this shrine in particular is a heal shrine. He will heal you if you offer one of your guns. As you can see, we're at full health, so we don't need it. And then we're chilling at the shop. He has nothing to offer, but he does have the cell creep. Cell creep. You're like, what the heck? Cell creep? What are you talking about? Something for the collection. I will compensate you. What this guy does is if you offer him an item, and you can do that by pressing the corresponding hotkey of dropping. I've set mine to F, but yours by default should be like G, or maybe it's F actually. You can drop an item, a gun, or just straight up an item at the grates there, and then he'll give you some money for it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna buy this key, and we're gonna go open both of our chests. So you saw me shoot the chest there. Chests do have health, as kind of denoted here by as I shoot it more. You see it kind of gets a little cracked. Generally speaking, it's in good habit to, when you see a chest, shoot it once, just pop it once, just to test for a mimic. There's multiple ways to test to see if a chest is a mimic, but that's just like one easy way is just to shoot it. There'll also be kind of like ominous breathing, but Don't worry about that. Just you get into the good habit of shooting chests, and you'll be in a good spot. So what this item is, this is escape rope. I don't really prefer it. It's kind of like teleporter from Isaac. It's just kind of it teleports you to the shop at the start of every floor. It's like not a terrible spacebar item if it's your only option. Like I would take it over nothing, but I wouldn't take it over what our current spacebar item is, which I neglected to talk about, but I will in a second here. So the Marine starts with, as I talked about earlier, it starts off with combat tactics, which is the... Okay, I had to blank there, unfortunately, because my dodge roll patterns are poor. But he starts off with combat tactics, which just generally makes aiming a lot easier. And he also starts off with supply drop, which gives you a free ammunition drop whenever you want. You can only use it once, but you'll get free ammo, basically. So I completely glossed over the boss there. That was the Gatling Ghoul. He's kind of a scary guy. As you saw, he pretty much is in the same formula as all the enemies that we fought. As long as you're moving, you should be fine. He attacks in a pretty not random, all over the place pattern that you can kind of weave in and out of. But just generally speaking, staying on the move is the best course of action. Staying on the move and constantly shooting him. You don't want to dodge roll too much because you'll find yourself in odd situations like the one I found myself in where I kind of was forced to use a blank there. So as you'll see, this was the same room. We just used the teleporter to go from the boss room to the chest room that we had. This is the same room that item was left on the ground. One mechanic, I guess you can call it a mechanic, of Gungeon that separates it from Isaac very much greatly is you can't just leave items on the ground just willy-nilly. There's this guy called the Resourceful Rat, I guess initials named RR, appropriately named, that will take your items, ammo drops, and guns that you leave on the floor. I think that's it. Items, ammo, guns... I think that's it, yeah, because they removed it from... I don't think he takes blanks anymore, or I don't think he actually ever took blanks. Anyways, kind of splitting hairs here. He'll take items, ammos, and guns from you if you leave them on the floor and go somewhere else. So you don't want to leave things on the floor too much if you can help it, unless you obviously just have no room for it. In this case, I had the option, I guess you could call it an option, of grabbing the escape rope, coming back here, and selling it to this guy. But the problem that I would have had there is that by the time I go back to pick up my current spacebar item, the one that I want, he would have taken it, and I didn't want him to do that. So I opted not to do that. I could have made some money, but I would have missed out on my free supply drop. I value the free supply drop more than I do a few coins or casings, so I did not opt to do that. What I'm doing right now is checking for the crack in the wall that we went over in the tutorial. As I mentioned, it will not be obvious as it was in the tutorial. You have to find it with a non-replenishable or non-renewable gun, I suppose you could call it. But we were unable to find it. So I will take a shot out of the dark. I'll do it in the shop because I can't use bullets to check in the shop because if I do, he gets pissed. So we'll use it. It didn't work. Unfortunate that we did not find it, but you live and you learn. I'm sure I'll find one at least throughout the course of this run, so I'll get to show you what it looks like. But yeah, without further ado, I guess we'll just go to the next floor. There's one thing that I wanted to explain, master rounds. So as you saw, on the Gatling Ghoul, I didn't take any hits whatsoever. If you do that, it's called flawlessing the boss. If you are successful in flawlessing the boss, or just taking no hits or damage, it has to be it's any damage whatsoever. It's not just red heart damage like in Isaac. If you take armor damage, I suppose, too, that counts. So you have to completely flawless the boss. You cannot get hit whatsoever. But if you succeed in doing that, you get a free permanent heart upgrade for the remainder of your run, which is very powerful. It's one of the ways in which this game really punishes new players is you don't know any of the patterns of the bosses, so you're very likely to get hit probably multiple times just throughout versus that boss that you just saw me fight. And as a result of that, not only are you taking damage and getting weaker, but you're also missing out on potential permanent heart upgrades, which make you a lot stronger, obviously. So it's a double-edged sword. So I'll explain. We just kind of hunted down the guy that was running from us. I think I don't know the guy's name. But that's a new enemy that they added in the Gungeons and Draguns update, the one that just released, obviously. And I say obviously because there's a good chance that if you're watching this video, you probably knew about that update that just dropped. It's a new enemy type. It's basically a guy that if you hunt down before he has the chance to teleport away, he will drop a free item. If you're able to kill him before he teleports away. If he teleports away, you will not get the free item, obviously. Should go without saying. As a logical follow-up to the statement that I was making. And yeah, so we've been introduced to like 4 or 5 new enemy types here. And I don't even feel like it's necessary explaining them because you can see how easily evaded their bullets all are. You just continuously move. It's not that complicated. Of course, no offense to anybody that does struggle with these enemies, but just trying to kind of give you the pro tips. Should probably go back to using my sidearm as we're low on ammo. And I wanted this run to be a relatively clean one, where I mostly just use the sidearm and show that even if you don't get super overpowered guns, not to say that the D tier shotgun that I found out of a, no, I don't think it was D tier. I think it was actually, I found that out of a blue chest, right? Can't remember how I actually got this gun at the start of the run. No, I don't think I found this out of a chest. I got this randomly out of a chest drop, I think. But nonetheless, it's not like this item's overpowered, but using it kind of invalidates the purpose of this run, which was to make it mostly clean and demonstrate that you can win in Gungeon, not because of good RNG, but just because you're a good, good skilled player. Good skilled? A highly skilled player? I hate to say highly skilled because that makes me sound like I'm flaunting. I'm definitely not like a god at this game, but, you know, I have some mechanical prowess. It's a green chest. We'll explain chest tiers, I'm sure, in a video, if need be. Yeah, I could talk about them now. Okay, so there's, I think 5 base tiers of chests. There's brown, blue, green, red, but some people call it gold, and black. And for every tier of chest, there is a pool of items, I guess you could say, a tier of items that will drop from said chests. You're restricted to only finding items within the tier that you're, the tier chest that you open. So, for instance, you cannot find a D tier item out of a B tier chest, which is to say you cannot find a brown chest item out of a blue chest. You can only find a blue chest item, which is of course good, because when you get your blue chests, you want to be getting, you know, blue chest items, usually. Kind of. I'll say kind of, actually. Because there seems to be a negative stigma surrounding lower tier chests. Lower tier chests do contain what I guess many would consider to be the most common upgrades in the game. Because they're found from lower tier chests, which are more common, I guess. Not even really, actually. Green tier chests are the most common. If you want to look at just pure statistical probability of finding a green tier chest, even on floor 1, I think every chest spawn is a 40% chance to be green. So, which is good, of course. I mean, if you value green tier chests, which you should. Every single chest tier has a really good item that can drop from it. The way I look at chest tiers is the items that they can drop, not the sheer tier that's associated with them. I'm not looking at a brown chest judging it poorly because, oh my god, it's a brown chest and it's the same color as poop and it's D, and D is a almost failing grade in my early academic years. I look at it and judge it as, oh, I could potentially get sling from this, or I could potentially get potion of gun friendship. Oh, that was just, oh, I didn't even get hit there because it's a ghost. They don't do contact damage, but I rolled right into him because he spawned in front of me. I tried a commentary of this game where I explain every enemy type that we encounter, and it just came out as like disgustingly long-winded, and I want to say distractingly, distractingly, what would you call it? Distractingly, yeah, I guess I don't even know what the word that I'm looking for is here. But yeah, it just came off as incredibly long-winded, so I decided to just kind of cover topics that I feel like are generally worth covering, and then if anybody's curious as to like specific enemy types and kind of learning their patterns, and they're too lazy to go and just play the game themselves, I can cover that in another video. But I'll talk about the enemies that interest me the most and the patterns that I feel like are worth talking about, but for the time being, I'll just try to focus on general gameplay tips. And I'll talk about the bosses a little bit because I think they warrant it. So we're fighting probably the easiest boss, I'd say, even in the game. She looks really hard, of course, because, well, you see patterns like this, and you're like, whoa, like, how do you even... avoid that. And I actually got hit because I'm terrible. But, no, I'm just kidding. I got hit because I was in a corner there. Very, very big pro tip of this game is try not to get cornered, especially against bosses. It's a little difficult against this girl, I'll say, because she does have a way of kind of zoning you out from the action. But it's whatever. Don't mind losing a master round. So her patterns, I think they're pretty well explained just by sheer nature of me playing against her and you seeing it. But if they weren't, basically she... No, I'm not going to sit here and explain it all. If you're really curious as to what her patterns are, she just used every single one of them if you want to go back and rewind the video. Yeah, she has, again, abilities that if you get comfortable enough with not panicking when you see a bunch of bullets on the screen, you should be able to pretty easily sidestep them. And you'll solve, you may have noticed from, I think it was this room in particular, actually, there's a key drop in there that I should go get. But yeah, I think it was in this room, the lead maiden that we killed, the big coffin-looking dude, dropped a golden key that we can use to go and unlock this particular girl and her friend robot that's missing an arm. Very important characteristic, by the way, of this guy is that he's missing an arm. We will be helping him out with that problem later. What we essentially just did is unlock these guys for our breach, which means we've kind of slowly but surely we progressed the game in some way or another, which is good. So when we go back to our breach, she'll be there and she'll offer us some items. She's like I don't want to call her a blacksmith. That's what her sister is. And there we just unlock the portable table device by dodge rolling over tables. That's, of course, the best way to unlock any item. We got the prime primer there that I cannot afford. We'll, of course, devote a run to purchasing that and bringing it to the blacksmith later. But yeah, I guess I could test for the secret room, but I have 3 blanks, and I kind of want to carry one over to the next floor. The way blanks work is you get 2 every floor, and if you have more than 2 when you exit a floor, you will get to keep that for the next floor. Which means you'll get, sorry, you get 2 every floor, but you can only ever have, it's a little, it shouldn't be that complicated to explain. Basically, if you have any number of blanks below 2, you will refill up to 2 when you enter a new floor. Otherwise, if you have more than 2 blanks, you will retain that number of blanks, but not add 2 more to your next floor, which means if I go to the next floor with 3 blanks, I will have 3 blanks to at my disposal. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, I picked up this item, which I can't actually remember. I think it's called like Irradium, I don't know, Irradium blanks or whatever. Basically, it gives my blanks a fire effect whenever I use them, but also it gives me a free extra blank every time I enter a new floor, which means instead of having 2 every floor, I will actually have 3 every floor, specifically because I have that item, and for no other reason than that reason alone. So don't get too confused. As a result of that, I feel it necessary to spend my blanks checking out for the secret floor. It was definitely not going to be here. I don't know why I checked there. If only because I'm just going to lose the opportunity to do so with no value added to me by next floor. So may as well look for it. Having some pretty poor luck. I didn't think it was going to be in there either. I don't even know why I checked. But yeah, having some pretty poor luck with the secret floor. Or secret room, sorry, not secret floor. Secret rooms in this game are pretty simplistic, similar to Isaac. They just they have a chance to offer, they usually at least offer something somewhat meaningful. And sometimes they offer some fat rewards, like, this is like a 3-chest secret room, which is really poggers. There's secret rooms with, NPCs in them. I think there's like a witch that, lets you trade out a gun for a gun of a similar tier. It's pretty cool. Anyways, I think it'd probably do me some amount of justice to go over the guns that we have and the guns that we started with. So the Marine Sidearm, as I mentioned, especially with the starting item, the combat tactics, just makes it a very consistent rate of fire. Or not, it doesn't make it a very consistent. It has a very consistent rate of fire. So pretty, I think, on par damage. It's like middle of the road as far as all the Gungeoneers are considered. But most importantly, it has incredible range, and it also just has a very nice straight and reduced spread, which means you won't be missing too much if you aim at your crosshairs and have pretty good aim as far as that's concerned. It teaches you the importance of having good aim, but it also doesn't punish you for having terrible aim. I think that's what I want to say. I think that's how I'd like to coin this gun if I had to. But yeah, from there we picked up the shotgun. One of the shotguns. There's many shotguns in this game. But we picked up like a D tier, like generic shotgun that served us pretty well for the first few floors. In addition to that, we of course got Shade's revolver, which is one of the two revolvers from that you can get from the bosses, Shade and Smiley. We'll fight those guys eventually. It's pretty irrelevant to know that. Just knowing that they have a synergy between the two of them, if you pick them both up in a run, is the relevant part of that story, I suppose. And then we got the hammer, which is a fun little boss weapon that has pretty good DPS that we'll use on a boss. And then the banana. The banana has explosive properties to it. When you fire its bullets, you'll see. It when it hits a wall or an enemy, it'll split off into two, and then not necessarily more importantly, but pretty importantly, it'll also explode on contact. And when it explodes, it has a I guess property to every explosion in the game has a property to them such that they kill bullets. Explosions destroy bullets, which is really good thing, because that means you have to worry about less bullets on the screen. So while you're doing damage to the enemy, you're also reducing the amount of, I guess, shit that you have to worry about. And so unfortunately we're going to have to say goodbye to our spacebar item here, because we just picked up the arcane gunpowder. And what the arcane gunpowder is it's part of our breach progression. We need I didn't really explain the story of this game. I didn't feel it was necessary, but basically what the Gungeoneers are here to do, all four of us, I will say, with a wink wink nudge nudge, hint at some secret characters that we'll spoil later for sure. What the Gungeoneers are here to do is they're here to kill their past. They have troubled, checkered pasts. Some of them do. Most of them just have like one or two things. I don't actually know the full story. I'd say the convict especially has a past that she thinks is worth killing. But I think the Marine just has some shit going on. I don't know. I won't try to divulge too much about the lore in this game. I'll just say that the Gungeoneers have elements of their past, like literally from their past. Like you go back in time. It's kind of cool. They don't really do too much with it though. It's not like some big convoluted plot device or whatever that sends you directly to the past or anything like that. But it's a nice little story element. Basically, we're here to find the gun and the bullet that can kill that can help us go back in time and right the wrongs that we've done, that we've made, so to speak. And part of doing that, we need to find 4 elements of the bullet that we need to construct the gun, or the 4 elements to the bullet. Sorry, 1 second here while I deal with that. Yeah, need to find the 4 pieces that will come together to help us form the gun itself, and then we need to find the gun itself. But the gun's pretty easy to find. It's mostly just the parts of the bullet that will give us some trouble. If we can't find a beam weapon or a means of flying, but we'll go over that one. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So again, I know it may seem like we're doing some fancy schmancy stuff, but it's not really even that. I don't even want to say that we're focusing too much on dodging. Or not dodging, sorry. Aiming. Like, you'll see we miss probably a fair half the shots. You miss every shot you don't take. No. We're missing, like, a fair number of shots. Like, my accuracy has never... See, like, I just hit the wall 500 times there. My accuracy has never been really on point. Gungeon, of course, makes it pretty easy, because it's third person out. You... don't even really need to aim too hard. You just kind of point and click, especially for some. There's actually, if you could believe it, there's hit scan weapons in this game, which is kind of funny to think about when you compare it to most first-person shooters. At least in my opinion, I don't know. I just think it's funny that, like, given how easy it is to aim in this game, they also felt it necessary to make guns that, I mean, I think it's cool, of course, but just kind of funny that there's hit scan guns in this game. But nonetheless, yeah, I have pretty poor aim, as you can see. The bulk of this game's, I don't even want to call it challenge, well, no, we'll call it challenge. The bulk of this game's challenge comes from simply staying alive. It's not from doing as much damage as quickly as possible. Sometimes when you're doing a run in Isaac or other roguelikes, you kind of mold your run around the idea that you don't have very much survivability, but it's okay because you have a crap ton of damage and you're able to just output it so quickly that most things aren't able to do the damage necessary to exploit your low survivability. Gungeon is quite, in a way, the opposite, for more reasons than just one. There's a DPS cap to the amount of damage that you can do to traditional bosses in the game. I think this is let off for mini bosses and for certain modes of the game, such as boss rush that will no doubt continue, or that we'll no doubt talk about later. But as far as the base game is concerned, which you'll probably be spending 90% of your playthrough doing, there is a DPS cap that you can do to bosses, which is to say there's only so much damage that you can do to a boss at a certain in a certain given amount of time. Almost fell off the cliff there. Before the game says, hey, we can't have you doing that much damage. You're gonna cheese the boss. We gotta slow your roll there. And you know, I mean, that's maybe that's kind of bittersweet for some people. I think it just kind of encourages you to play more safely. Well, I mean, that's what it does, just outright. It guarantees that there's at least some kind of like threshold, I'd say, for good play in this game, that you can never fully just cheese down a boss and not worry about anything. But yeah, anyways, I think it's about time to fight the boss. So I think we kind of got everything we needed to out of this floor. I'll go ahead and switch to our hammer. It's very common. It's in good practice to have a certain gun that you'll be using for boss fights and then a certain gun that you'll be using for the majority of your room clears. We're kind of getting cornered here again, which is exactly what I told us not to do. Okay, that's exactly why. Things just get scarier when you're against a boss and you're getting cornered. And so you'll notice things do get a little hectic when you're on, say, floor 3 bosses, because you can't just focus on dodging. You also have to focus on the enemy's movement. Well, no, actually, I take that back. You can just focus on dodging. In fact, I'd say it's a very premier strategy to do. But the game doesn't do you too many favors when you're just focusing on dodging, because enemies start to move and their patterns become cryptic, and he goes invulnerable for the second time this fight. Luckily, they did reduce the amount of times that a boss can do this. So, oh my god, I knew that was going to happen. I knew he was going to blindside me with some super short range, near instantaneous reaction time. Crap like that. We have a fair amount of armor here, so I still don't want to get hit, even though we have... because armor is, of course, non-replenishable. As you can imagine, it's kind of like this game's equivalent of soul hearts. But red hearts are replenishable. Nice. Easy reload bullets. What's the synergy there? The reload roll. Okay, let's switch to this gun. Just like fully reloads my clip. That's kind of cool. I don't think it normally does that, right? Yeah, normally it just reloads one bullet. You'll see down there, as I'm dodge rolling, it reloads one bullet. But for the Winchester, or whatever the heck this gun is, it actually fully reloads my shit. It's pretty cool. So, we'll check for the secret room. Doubt we'll find it. Doubt we will find it. We'll check with this gun, because we're almost out of ammo anyways. Yeah, we'll check with this gun, too. It's a good idea to give these walls a good chunk of lead before you roll them out as possibilities. I think it's going to be in this room, but I'd be wrong. Huh. What the heck? You can usually tell if a room has or has not the secret room by the obstacles that are in the way. And then also obviously the layout of the room too. So for instance, like a secret room can't spawn right here, because like where would it spawn? But up here I wouldn't be surprised if it could, but I don't think it is, because this crap is in the way. And if crap is in the way, that usually means that it's not there. Thought that was it for a second, but no. Huh. Weird. I don't know. We'll go check this place out. Because I have two keys, and so I think I want to unlock this anyways and see what's inside that green chest. That's a really shitty gun. It's like, I'm actually surprised it's a green tier chest gun. But whatever, you know. As mentioned earlier, tiers of guns should never be divided. I mean, they're divided as far as the game's concerned, but your mind should not default to the idea that a black chest is always going to contain a Jesus gun. And likewise, you shouldn't discount a brown chest just because it's brown. And therefore the same color as poop. Because some of the best active items in the game can drop from brown tier guns. Or from brown tier chests, sorry. And bullet mods too. I don't want to say bullet mods actually. But there's some good guns that can drop from brown tier chests. Like Sling. But we won't go over that, because I don't think we'll see Sling. I think Sling's actually an unlock. Alright, I guess we'll save our blanks, because we can't... I don't even have like a hunch as to where the secret room is. So we'll save our blanks. We should have 3 going into this next floor, but because we brought 1 over and our max count is 3, we have 4 now. If we use this 4th one and then we go to the next floor, then we will go back down to our 3 count. We will not rise up to 4 because, again, unless we pick up an item, I guess, that gives us an extra blank, of course. But that's already... I'm sure that was implied. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, no. I wanted to do that on hammer. Darn, that sucks. I can explain ammo. There's 2 kinds of ammo in this game. One that fully reloads the current gun that you're using. Another that they just added. Again, you probably already know about this, but I'll explain it just for those that might not. Because I still do have a fair amount of my YouTube audience being Dota 2 players that are wondering when I'm going to go back to that game. Kappa. The other type of ammo is the one that you just saw. It's that kind of beige tint. Oh god, almost got hit there. And what that does is it reloads half of the current gun that you're using's ammo, as well as 25% of all of your other guns. It's a really nice little fill up, if you will. So this will fully reload the gun's ammo that whatever currently selected gun we got. And so I'll reload my hammer because that's the one I'm using primarily. We'll switch to this gun actually because I just want to try this like with the synergy. I thought this was supposed to... Oh, it doesn't reload. Okay. That's interesting. So it doesn't reload the entire gun. But actually... No. Okay. If it's empty and I... No. Okay. Never mind. Yeah, this is weird. I don't mind it, but it's just weird. Yeah, okay, darn. Alright, I'm not gonna use this. Dodge rolling for ammo just puts you in too much of a vulnerable position, I think. It's cute, though. I'll say that. Definitely cute. This gun also never really did too much damage to begin with. I was never a huge fan. Alright, we'll go back to... I guess we'll go to Shade's Revolver. Ooh, this room. This is a fun room. Because... I think... Yeah, you either need flight, or I think you can get a beam weapon that will leave a goop trail that will reveal the way, that'll light the way. I'm not sure, though. It's been a while since I've done this. That room that we just entered was another room required to obtain parts. Oh my god, I'm gonna get hit. How did I not get hit? Is it because they only do damage when they're in their dash animation? That's interesting. You'll notice there's a plethora of enemy types in this game. I think I talked about that earlier. It's kind of cool, like, you know, you can of course call this like a gun-focused game. One second, I just want to check something. Yep. You can of course call this a gun-focused game, but there's a fair amount of enemies and even guns in this game that are like mostly effective in melee range. Much to the dismay, of course, of people that think that's dumb, but nonetheless, this game has a fair amount of like variety, I'd say, in its gameplay, such that it never just feels like a straight-up shooter. Kind of reminds me of like Overwatch in that respect, you know, where it's like yeah, you could call this a third-person dungeon crawling shooter, but I don't know. Look at it a little bit more critically, and you might see something different. So we'll just go the safe way here. Is it the safe way? Okay, I was pretty close there. Almost hurt myself. Now we're up to 5 blanks naturally too. That's not like it's not like I hit a shrine that gave me a crap ton of blanks anyways. This is a pretty good gun. The Mr. Accretion Jr. It's one of the new ones added. Shoots planets. saying that, I almost feel like I have an obligation to buying it. But we'll see. I want to make sure I have keys for chests. And I almost feel like I should have tried to intentionally impose some sort of challenge on this run. Like maybe I'd use my non-dominant hand or something to play. Because I feel like I'm not doing the game too much justice and just detailing just how hard this game can be as a newcomer. Like, if you're watching this as a newcomer to the game, like, Carbon, for instance, I know, told me yesterday, actually in the YouTube comments, he was like, hey, man, I just bought this game on sale yesterday. It's a super fun game, which I completely agree with. But I only imagine that as a newcomer, you're probably struggling at least a fair amount with the content that you've interacted with so far. Because being a newcomer to this game is especially, I don't want to say punishing. Well, it is punishing. It's punishing, like, in all correct definitions of the word, too. It's punishing, like, punishingly difficult, and then it also is just straight up, like, the game actively punishes new players. Probably not intentionally, but I guess I should say, and, like, right there, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This game rewards good play, and it does so in several ways. For one, if you get hit in any given room that you're in, your chances of getting money drops is significantly reduced. So you'll notice, I got hit in this room, right? And I just fought like 2 waves of enemies, and I got like 2 coins there. Like I got like scraps worth of money, right? Not a whole lot whatsoever. It's one way in which this game punishes you as the new player, is, you know, you don't know the enemy patterns, so you're going to be getting hit a whole lot. You don't know that you should just constantly be on the move to be avoiding the majority of the bullets that are going to hit you in this game. So you're getting smacked left and right, and you're not making any money whatsoever, so you can't go to the shop and reliably make anything. God, I have not seen a single... No, I've seen like 1 or 2 green chests, but I had to fight for them. Here I am complaining about chest tiers. Kappa, after that big spiel I just gave. Well, and we'll stick in nature of the way that you are probably instinctively going to prioritize chests. Not that you should necessarily do this, but this is a blue chest. My other chest option is a brown chest, so I'm gonna open the higher tier chest. Surprise, we got a crappy gun. It's whatever. We have a plethora of guns at our disposal. Then we got a blank shrine, and this is oh, come on, serious? This is why, ladies and gentlemen, you should not use your keys. And it also had the secret room that had another chest in it. Man, I really screwed up. Should not have opened that chest. Poor decision. Okay, yeah, we're actually just fucked. We might have to kill a red chest, boys, and that would really make me sad. Ooh, please don't do this to me. Maybe the boss will drop me a key. Darn, that's unfortunate. Okay, well, I mean, I deserve it. I did make a mistake, but there's quite a lot of chests in this floor, and I don't have any keys to open them. Feels bad, man. But yeah. Even with all the, I guess, new enemy types that we've seen. I say new, but of course this is my first playthrough of the game, so everything is new. So I'll reword that. Even with all of the different enemies that we've seen throughout this run, you'll see it's mostly just kind of like different name, but same game, you know? Wherein the goal of the game is typically just stay on the move and you won't get hit. Like, that fact has not changed. And I want to save my blanks if at all possible, but I can't do it there. That was just a mistake. I put myself in a bad situation. I'm going to actually switch out to the hammer. Okay, I didn't need to do that there. I could have just picked my battles better, but whatever. I'm a tad lethargic, so my patterns here, I just did that there, but I probably didn't need to. 1 blank left. Okay, so I wanted to say blanks. I wanted to conserve blanks, I should say, because we have, we didn't get any keys there. Darn, that's unfortunate. I wanted to conserve keys there, or blanks there, because of this shrine right here, the blank shrine. So what the blank shrine is, you saw me kind of utilize it earlier, but I didn't really explain it. Basically, it's like the only legible text is offering, the rest is blank. Oh man, what could that possibly mean? Well, you use a blank, and sometimes it spawns items. It has like a 90% chance to drop an item on your first blank, and then I think it diminishes down to like 40% on your next one. So it was basically like a little bit, my odds of getting a chest there were a little worse than a coin flip. on that blank that you just saw me use, but the first blank that I used was pretty much guaranteed to drop me one. And it did, but unfortunately, especially unfortunately because it's a red chest, or I guess a green chest. God damn it. Yeah, unfortunately it gave me a chest with a key on it, which I think it's actually, it's usually, if not always, going to give you one. So I can't open that chest, which means I'm going to have to break it, which really makes me sad. Luckily, because we have not unlocked Sir Junkin yet, we have a pretty good chance of getting him. We'll see, of course. We should also get some golden poop. Nope. Well, we did unlock gold junk, but we did not get it. Oh, we did get Junkin. Sweet. Okay. So all is not lost, actually. So that little piece of junk that you see following me is Sir Junkin, and he's pretty nifty. Should we... we can dedicate this run to Junkin, the Junkster, the Junkers. Yeah, let's do it. I don't have any keys, so what we're gonna do is, even if I pick up some keys, unless it's an A tier chest or a red tier chest or higher, completely going against, by the way, the kind of like the gospel that I was stating earlier, that you shouldn't take chest tiers to heart. One cool little nifty thing we can do here. This is probably not worth it, but we're gonna do it anyways. Seriously? I guess it wasn't worth it. I'm not gonna do the other blank. I had a 40% chance of getting a chest there, but and I tried it earlier and to no avail, so I just figured I would. But I didn't. So what Sir Junkin does is he's a little turd, like basically. I love him, but he is a piece of junk that runs around, and he levels up as you collect more junk. So the first junk tier that you have is, in addition to the one that you get him, he does like basically nothing. I think he pushes enemies around, but he's literally harmless. He does no damage. But by the time you fully upgrade him, he's actually like a very significant, even probably actually very likely he's a more significant damage source than you yourself are, and he basically turns into the hard carry of the run, for more reasons than just one. Likely it is the case that to get to Sir Junkin's level that high, you were probably destroying enough chests that you probably have nothing for yourself, unless you have like the Ring of Chest Friendship, which we'll get into later. I'm salty about that blank. I did not mean to push that button, but whatever. Boom, bam, boom, bam, boom, boom, boom. I love this music. Oh my goodness, I didn't see that there. All right, need to be a little bit more careful. Can't just. Now it's no time to throw my life away. Oh my god. All right, I need to kill this guy. We'll just stand right here, where I should have been standing. Some very sloppy play cost me like all of my armor, but whatever. Yeah. What do we want to fill? I guess hammer? Feels like a bit of a waste, especially if I found a beige gun. I'm gonna do shades, because I can use this to floor clear, or room clear, and I won't feel bad about it. Won't feel like I'm wasting a good gun. Shades last me a lot longer than hammer too, so. But yeah, anyways, so, what was I saying? Actually, what was I saying? Was I even saying anything significant? I think like half the time I don't, so I won't read too much into it. Oh yeah, Sir Junkin. So yeah, basically, without getting too complicated, because I don't even fully understand the maths behind upgrading this wonderful beast. But he gets to the point where he eventually is like so significant of a damage source that you basically just have to like hide and let him take care of everything, and you'll be fine. He's not, I wouldn't even say he's not even really close to that level right now, but it's even hard to say that because honestly, like, I don't know. Look at him go. Yeah, he ain't really doing anything right now, I won't lie. Which isn't to say that he's doing me no favors, but I need a few more pieces of junk before I can kind of recognize him as the beast that we all want him to be. Oh, don't do this to me. It's okay. The shopkeeper will definitely have what we're looking for. Oh, what? Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was going to explode backwards. That's my mistake. It's just... This gun just does not do it for me, man. There's just not enough damage. Maybe in the early game when it's like 2 or 3 shotting things, but... Same thing with Hegemony's rifle, man. Just can't get behind these guns, man. I mean, I'll use it because of the principle, but I hate that. Okay. I was gonna say I'm gonna have to dodge roll soon. But we're good. It's that little bastard. We wanna. Oh crap. Seriously? I'm triggered about that. That actually made me mad. Need to watch our character a lot more. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'd say about 90%, despite the fact that I haven't even covered any of the enemy types yet. I feel confident in saying that 90% of this game's hazards is just pattern recognition, but even more bold, like not boldly, more generally than just pattern recognition. It's just constantly staying on the move and watching your character. I don't need to know what these guys do, insofar as their patterns, so long as I'm just watching my character. Like, gluing my eyes to my character and not focusing too much on aiming. Does the majority of my safety for me, I suppose you could say. Like, I'll stay mostly safe if I just do that, even if I don't know what these enemies do. Like this chick, for instance, she fires 2 bullets out that'll never actually hit you. Even if I didn't do that, as long as I was saying, I mean, even though she's like one of the worst enemies to actually detail this description, because she's like the, okay. Getting cornered, man. What did I tell you? I can't move if I'm cornered. But anyways, she's like the worst enemy to detail this, because she actually punishes you for moving. Like the way that you dodge her patterns is you just stay still. But even if you are moving, it's not like her pattern is that hard to dodge. You just sidestep it. I don't even think you need to dodge roll. Quite the stream of bullets there, sir. Alright, now at this point, have to look towards other guns to refill. Really? Alright. I really hope the blacksmith does actually have a Q. Because it's going to pain my heart. Oh my god, I rolled into that. That was just foolishness. Those hammer enemies are actually probably what I hate the most. Oh my god. My, like, worst nemesis, like, most hated. Like, whenever I see those guys, just in general, but also, just in general, but also, but more so specifically in rooms where there's enemies, I get triggered. Like, in generic rooms, like, I think this one, where you're just running around, dodging their bullets, I'm already kind of salt. Because... well, the new update made it a lot easier, but it just always felt like it was kind of difficult to dodge. Hey, seriously? No keys? Like, I'm actually going to have to blow these up? Whatever. Oh, Gungeon. Forsake me. Why? Whatever. The Junkster can evolve. Kind of lucky getting all these junks. As you're getting, not as you're collecting junk, but, as you blow up chests, they have different, like, blowing up chests in and of itself has a different loot table. It's not always guaranteed to give you, junk, so I guess you could say I'm lucky in that respect to have gotten all junk from those chests. But, I don't know, with that being said... yeah, I think with that being said, we just go fight the boss. Let's go and do it. The dragon. Dragun. Oh my goodness. So the dragon, definitely not the most difficult boss encounter in the game, but certainly not something to scoff at, unless you. Well, okay, you can scoff at him actually. Okay, I forced myself into a blank situation there. This guy really is a lot about learning patterns, and that was just kind of unfair right there. There's no way I was gonna dodge that. Just knowing his different attack patterns and reacting accordingly. Promise it's not too hard. But of course I say that, but no, I know full well that when I first fought this guy, I think I won with like half a heart. It was pretty epic, but it was also terrifying to think that I could have lost all of my progress. But, I mean, also, that being said, the very first time I fought this guy, I did beat him, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, he has a tendency to spawn little dudes. When he does spawn those little dudes, you gotta be sure to blank right then and there. That's like what you should be saving your blanks for in this encounter, and I miraculously did not get hit. Probably not the best gun to use to finish him off, but whatever, it did the job. We're surprisingly weak on our boss killing guns, so we're gonna have a hard time killing his heart phase here. But I guess, yeah, to explain this guy, basically, he fills the gun like every boss in the game. Has no difficult time just filling the screen with bullets, and your job is to dodge them carefully. I don't know, I kind of feel bad, because I feel like the bulk of this video has just been me telling you, like, stay on the move. Learning enemy patterns really boils down to just looking at your character. And I think that's it. Just stay on the move and look at your character. It's the bulk of this game's mechanics for you in a nutshell. But, I don't know. With that being said, that was the dragon. And we gotta make sure that we talk to this chick to get our breed progress. She's gonna sit here and she's gonna be like, oh yeah, you're looking for the bullet that can kill the past. Well, I'm gonna need some stuff. The prime primer, the arcade powder, which we have, a shard of planar lead, an obsidian shell casing, which we just got from killing the dragon's head, and then we'll be on our way. And I'm like, okay, well, I got something for you. And then she's like, okay, wait, you got this and you got that. And so we got 2 out of the 4 things that we need. And that should be it, I want to say. Nothing else to unlock, nothing else to do. And so with that, we just walk up to the little ominous. This place was super cool the first time I went through it, and it probably will be the first time you go through it too. Walk to this place, interact with it, gives us a gun, the gun that can kill the past, but we don't have the bullet that can kill the past, so we can't kill our past. But we could definitely try. Oh, sorry for that rude yawn. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This has been Wire Guitars Plays Enter the Gungeon. I'll be sure to upload more Gungeon content soon. But until next time, ta-da.